been a tough patch for the Demons. They find themselves 12th on the ladder. They need to dig themselves out of this little hole that they find themselves in. But the good news is they do have time, and they take on the West Coast Eagles back home at the MCG this weekend. One of their shining lights of season 2024 is a man who's captained the side. He's a 200-gamer, and he's a champion. Jack Viney, welcome. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks for having me on.
Jack, you've watched a lot of footy. You've been part of a lot of footy. What's happening with your Demons at the moment? Why aren't you the team that you once were and can be?
Yeah, obviously not having the year we'd like to be. Played some pretty consistent footy over the last 3 or 4 years, but, things just weren't working well for us the first half of the year. But I feel like we've, gone back to, a bit of what's made us a really strong team over the previous years and really honed in on that and, focusing on our strengths. So I think we've seen a bit of a shift over the last couple of weeks with some disappointing last quarters, but feel like we're trending back in the right direction. And like you mentioned at the start of the segment, we've got time to find some form and, hopefully make a late charge and create something special.
So you think, Jack, that Melbourne supporters should be buoyed from what they saw on the weekend despite a loss?
Can you explain to me what buoyed means?
Sorry, they should be positive, that they should be looking at the positives.
Absolutely. I think, since the bye, I think we've made some pretty conscious shifts internally just with really going after our strengths as a team and being a little bit more aggressive, I think. And I think we've seen some really positive outcomes over the last 2 weeks. Some last quarter fade outs, which is something we're looking to address, going into the future. But I'm certainly confident, and I think our fans should be too.
Jack, Lee Matthews here. I was at the game on Friday night, and your second quarter, it was probably your best quarter you played all year, I suspect. You kicked 8 goals too, but the ferocity around the contest was just simply outstanding. Now, if everyone's trying to do that, you guys are trying to do that every minute you're playing, but somehow or other in that one quarter, you got to a level that just was so impressive. I mean, that's obviously the starting point you have to build on all the time. Yeah,
no, you're spot on, Lee. Teams that are playing really good footy at the moment, their ability to apply pressure on the opposition and win contests is something that, we've looked at and, looking to kind of make a cornerstone of our game kind of for the back end of the season, and felt like, we played some of the best football we have all season on the weekend, or Friday night, sorry. We just got to find ways of sustaining that for the full 4 quarters.
And you were very much part of that. I mean, that Jared Berry, who often gets a task for the Lions, seemed like he was playing on you in the first half, and they dropped it at half time. That's how well you were going. So there must be a good feeling when the tag gets dropped.
Yeah, like you said, we're playing some good football as a team, and we had Clayton Oliver really doing some damaging stuff, and obviously Max does his thing. Cozzy Pickett was extremely dangerous, and so we had some teammates really firing, and as a unit we were pretty cohesive and all on the same page. So when you're tagging opposition, it makes it hard to maintain that when so many other things are going well. So I was pretty happy that we're playing well, and Berry ended up going to play a different role.
Jack, you mentioned your last quarter fade-outs a little earlier in the interview. So 0 goals against North Melbourne in the last quarter, 1 goal against Brisbane on the weekend. The simplistic view would just be to say that you're not fit enough. Is there a more complex answer?
Yeah, I see more of a mental thing, I think. When you're under the pump and you're playing in an elite sport in high-pressure environments, I think, you kind of go into your shell a little bit, try and play a little bit more safe. And I think that's when you lose a little bit of your cohesion and, just what made you so dominant for the first 3 quarters. So I think it's more around when that moment comes around again, looking to really stand up, be aggressive and assertive. And I guess I'm in the moment rather than, shy away from it and let the game kind of fade away because the opposition's always, they've got nothing to lose. They're going to go for it. And if you're, playing safe, it kind of plays into their hands a little bit.
Admittedly, I think you had 4 or 5 shots in the last quarter and didn't kick a goal, so the inaccuracy was clearly critical. But both sides, that last quarter, when neither side really could kick a goal, and it's like a disease that just engulfs all the players. Can you put yourself in that moment when just both teams were missing after miss after miss?
Yeah, no, the pressure builds, and that's why kind of being able to finish in front of goal can really shift momentum. When teams get momentum, particularly Brisbane, they can score quite heavily. So, to miss a couple of shots early on in the last quarter there, it's a bit deflating, but you can't really do much but move on and try and let the opposition score. And I felt like our fight to the death in our D50 was strong. Brisbane had some errors, but our ability to chase and pressure and make them feel like they were under the pump. I think that was a highlight of that quarter. Was just trying to lock it in that our forward half in that last quarter. Brisbane was really able to kind of get their uncontested mark game going. Made us work pretty hard and got it kind of end to end on us pretty easily.
Your forward line's been a point of contention for a lot of Melbourne people, I think, for a while now, Jack. And I had to look through that premiership side that played. I mean, Fritsch kicked 6. You had Ben Brown, who's still there, who kicked goals. Tom McDonald, I know, is playing a different role, who kicked goals. But, it's not as though you had a 100-goal kicker that's retired or no longer there. You've still got the pieces. Are you confident you can find a way to start scoring like you did when you were a team that were putting away other teams?
Yeah. I mean, Brownie's obviously had his troubles with his knees, and Tom McDonald's no longer on the forward line. So we've only got one of the 3 you mentioned just then. Obviously Jacob Van Ruin's a young forward, up and coming. Pets as well, who's been inconsistent with his body and his health. But we really value Pets extremely highly, and feel like with some continuity with his body and his playing, he's going to be a star for us. And then young Disco Turner as well. Again, they're super young, inexperienced, but it's got all the right stuff to be a really strong power forward for us. So it's a really inexperienced kind of line for us.
Okay.
Yeah, so, feel like, it's just going to keep, as the season goes on, we'll keep chipping away at it, and then things will start clicking for us pretty well, and particularly up forward.
Can I finish off, Jack, with a bit of a football philosophy question? I mean, you're a player who plays in the middle of the pack, which means you get tackled a lot and you lay a lot of tackles. In terms of your time in footy, do you sense it's easier or harder for the bloke with the ball or the tackler? I mean, what's happened from your point of view in that evolution?
Are you asking me, Lee, is it easier to be the tackler or?
Well, yeah, or how it's changed. Is it easier or harder as the tackler or being the bloke with the ball? I mean, what's your sort of feeling on that particular philosophy?
I probably feel like it's, particularly this year, it's been a bit harder to get the holding the ball decisions.
Right.
I know the umpires came out maybe a couple of weeks ago and said they're going to reward the tackles a little bit more. I think that's what happened. But, guys with the ball are having a lot of time to dispose of the ball or fight for tackles. And I'm probably seeing that the tackler not being rewarded for, really strong and effective tackles. I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing. I probably just, as a feeling of how the game's going.
Yep.
Trending.
Just before you go, Jack, Andrew Dillon said the umpiring's as good as it's ever been. Would you agree?
No comment.
Just say yes.
We had to ask. You've been around a while, Jack. You know how to answer those questions. Hey, we appreciate your time. It is Kids Takeover Round happening at the G this Sunday, so I'm sure your daughters, Jack, Mila and Chloe, are excited for it. Also taking place during Kids Go Free Month. Everyone under the age of 15 can enter the ground for free. It's a great initiative. Good luck on the weekend, Jack, and let's hope you can find a way back into September.
Beautiful. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having us on.
Want to see more from the D's? And don't forget to subscribe up here.